Yeah, thanks for having me.
just voices. Lie, lie, la 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 la. Now you without me. Shabbat Shalom. As somebody walked in tonight, we were catching up a little bit, and she said, you know, New Year's this year was feh. Or maybe it was meh. One or the other. And here we find ourselves again. I think this was what she was referring to, hunkering down again, separating ourselves again, stepping into concern, maybe fear and worry. And so once again, we find ourselves, we've done it so many times, but once again, we find ourselves stretching our spiritual muscles and seeing how we can find blessing in the quiet, in the time for reflection, in the depth that we can achieve with those fewer people whom we're seeing once again. In the hunger we feel to be together, which makes moments like this, when some of us are in the room and many of us are on the screen, that much sweeter. Let's dig deep, friends. Dig deep for the blessings. I know they're there. I know we'll find them. Welcoming the angels. Shalom Aleichem. pleasure to invite Sophie, who's here with us on Zoom and becoming bat mitzvah this Shabbat, to lead us in candle lighting. Hello, hello. Do you have your candles?
Hi.
There you are.
Yeah, I have. Wait, I think we need it much. Got the candle.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Get over here, man.
So I should just.
Gosh.
Sorry, 1 second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Page 23.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash.
Page 28 at the bottom. Adonai oz le'amo yitem, Adonai yivarech et amo. Jewish tradition is just so stubborn in insisting that every week Shabbat comes. No matter what is going on out there, no matter if it's dark or bright or difficult or wonderful, Shabbat comes, Lecha Dodi will be here every single week. Page 29. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat lekabela shamor v'zachor v'diburecha ishmiyadu el ha'reichad Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemu tiferet v'liktehila lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat lekabela לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה מקדש מלך ומלוכה ומצאים מתוך ההפכה רב לשבת לעמק הבכה והוא יחמול על face the door. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likatala yala pene Shabbat Kabbalat lecha dodi kala yala pene Shabbat Kabbalat. Page 75. Please be seated, page 76. Beloved are you, eternal God, soul of the universe, by whose design the evening falls, by whose command dimensions open up and eons pass away, and stars spin in their orbits. You beat the rhythm of day and night, the alternation of light and darkness sings your creative word. In westering sun and spreading dusk, God of all things, you are made manifest. Eternal, everlasting God, may we ever be aware of your dominion. Blessed are you, compassionate one, in this serene hour of nightfall. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 79. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Michamocha, page 81.
La 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 la
Rosove, Fele, Nora, Tehilo, Rosove,
Fele, Alechutecha, Ra'uvanecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Teili adu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar kifad Adonai el Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al. Baruch Ata Ga'al Yisrael. La 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 la
We often talk about Hashkivenu as being a prayer for rest, a prayer for a restful night of sleep. But I'm thinking about the other things that nighttime might bless us with. So many things. Natalie Merchant taught us that the night is for lovers. The night maybe is for love. And I can't get this one night from the break out of my head. Some of you have heard this story, so I'll tell it briefly. I was camping with two of my kids in a tent, and it was cold. And I kept waking up and checking on everybody, are their faces okay, are their hands okay, and falling back asleep. And finally, at one point, I just pulled Lily, my 3-year-old, into the sleeping bag with me. And she was in her footy pajamas, her fuzzy little onesie, and it was just the sweetest night of exchanging warmth and heat and love packed in our little cocoon of a sleeping bag. So if you need warmth tonight, may this night bring you warmth. If you need rest, may it bring you rest. If you need love, may it bring you love. If you need peace, may this night bring you peace. Hashkivenu, page 82.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, v'taknenu b'etzah tova milfanecha. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor setenu vo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, l'chaim, Vishamru. We have a new Vishamru tonight. And I'm going to teach it to you, and then we're going to dive inside of it. I invite you to allow yourself to just get lost in these words and get lost in this music, kind of like a chant. And I just lost the tune. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Do that with me. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Let's do it again. 2 more times. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. You know what? I want to do that Uvayom Hashvi'i again because that Shabbat Vayi Nafash, that to me is just the essence of the Shamru, that re-souling on Shabbat. Uvayom Hashvi'i Shabbat Vayi Nafash Shabbat Vayi Nafash Uvayom Hashvi'i Shabbat Vayi Nafash Shabbat Vayi Nafash V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם
עמידה. Before we chant and sing Mishaberach, a prayer for healing, I'm holding so many people who I'm thinking about and sending blessings for healing and strength for. I'm especially taken by the stories of two different people who today shared difficult things with me, and they apologized when they told me about their pain. And I was talking to a therapist today, and I said, well, why are people apologizing for their pain? And she said that she thinks that we live in a society where it's just difficult to hold another person's sorrow and grief. And I thought to myself, that's why we do Mishaberach, because we force ourselves to take a moment and hold people who are really in need of healing. So whether it's part of yourself that's in need of healing, a relative, a friend, a family member, a congregant, please hold their sorrow, hold their pain, hold their yearning for healing in your hands, in your heart, in your breath, as we sing Mishaberach, page 239.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech veYirapeh et hacholim So this week, we all know, marked the 1-year anniversary of the insurrection in our capital, right? January 6th, 2020. And I remember that morning. I was working at home. I was sitting at my computer, and all of a sudden, it started happening, and my jaw dropped, and I called my older daughter, who was still in from college, and we all were just wrapped around our computer, and my jaw dropped, and it looked like a scene in a movie, but it was real. And then we kept on surfing channels and seeing how each channel was covering it. And then I didn't, in preparing for this sermon, I didn't quite realize that exactly 2 weeks later, Biden was sworn in as president. I mean, it was just such a blur that time, right? 2 weeks later, he was sworn in as our 46th president. And I felt like I was swinging on a pendulum from total despair to hope. And I remember the morning of January 20th, when I heard Amanda Gorman. Remember? She was wearing her yellow coat and her red headpiece. How could you not forget how she delivered the hill that we climb? And she said, but I can't do it as well as she can. She said, somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we're striving to form a union that is perfect. We're striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. So great. It feels like a redemptive poem. A nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished. And yet there she stood, a skinny black girl dreaming of becoming president. That's redemption. And I've been thinking a lot about redemption this week. Honestly, because I've always had a problem with it. Redemption, like we were redeemed from Egypt, okay, fine. But what does that really mean to me? I'm not a slave. Okay, maybe to my busy calendar or my iPhone. But come on, we're not really slaves. And honestly, redemption, I'm sorry to admit it, but it always felt sort of Christian to me. So I had a hard time with it. And yet, every week we sing Mi Chamocha. It sort of leaves me a little empty theologically. And so I was actually very moved this week when I learned how the Sfat Emet understood redemption based on this week's Torah portion. So remember, we're in the book of Exodus, slavery, Moses, plagues, you know all of that, right? Side note, we know a lot about plagues. Okay, right? So the Sfat Emet, he lived 1847 to 1905, Poland. And he lived through a time of tremendous upheaval, pogroms, mass migration, poverty, fear. Personally, I always like to know the biography of a theologian. My teacher, David Ellenson, said, all theology is autobiographical. If that's the only thing I ever learned from him, that's like enough, right? So all theology is autobiographical. So what do we need to know about the Sfat Emet? By the time he was 10 years old, both of his parents had died. 10 years old. And he was raised by his grandfather. So he's someone who not only
globally was living through chaos, but his own personal life was really redemption, was really oppression to redemption. So here's what he teaches. He focuses on this seemingly irrelevant verse in this week's Torah portion, which I read it and I was like, okay, whatever. And here's the verse. HaChodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodashim rishon hu lachem chodshei hashana. This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you. All right, so what, right? That actually, it turns out, is the very first commandment that the Jewish people hear as an am, as a people. That's the first commandment. This is before the 10 Commandments, Mount Sinai, everything, right? They become a people in Egypt, right? And this is the first commandment, that this is the beginning of the months for them when they're getting out of Egypt. This statement, he teaches, says something profound. He says that the word chodesh, month, comes from the same Hebrew word as chadash, which means new. And then he rereads the midrash on this verse, and he teaches that there is no greater renewal than the renewal of a month. There is no greater renewal than the renewal of a month. Now, stay with that for a moment. The renewal of a month, a moon waxes and wanes. And that in and of itself, he's saying, is a gift. So what's so significant about the waxing and waning of a moon? Okay, so here's my drash on him, and then I'll give you his drash on him. My drash on him is, what does this have to do with redemption? Right, because the Jews are getting out of Egypt, and he's saying that the moon is in and of itself a gift. So we often identify darkness with depression, with sadness, with stagnation. We think of darkness as a negative word. But for him, it's not. Because the moon waxes and wanes, we need the darkness in order to have the light as well. And he's saying to embrace the darkness, to embrace those difficult times, to greet the darkness not as a bad thing, but as an opportunity to take a break, to go inward, to refresh, to renew ourselves. The moon reminds us that we don't have to always be on, that things don't always have to be great. Oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. No, maybe you're not fine, right? The moon is reminding us that it's okay to be quiet and not on all the time. And also, when we watch the moon wax and wane, we're reminded that darkness is actually potential. That when we take the time to go dark, like in theater, to not be on all the time, possibilities for new thoughts, new insights can bubble up inside of us. And finally, a third thought is that perhaps the moon models for us that life isn't always great, that we will encounter difficult times. They will be challenging. But it's stamina and patience that help us get through those dark times. So again, that's my drash on the Sfat Emet, that there's no greater renewal than the renewal of the month. But what does the Sfat Emet say about that? He teaches that the redemption of the Israelite people from Egypt is the story of our recreation. Just like the moon recreates itself every month. And he says that our capacity to be reborn, to change, to grow, to be liberated and elevated ought to be our grounding principle of our very beings.
To be alive as a Jew, he teaches, is to recognize and celebrate and cultivate our ever-evolving nature. So like the shapes of the moon, we can expand, we can contract, we can share light, or we can just grow dim. Like the moon, we can build toward fullness over and over again, no matter how many times we shrink in between. And yeah, the creation of the world, it was miraculous, he says. But the recreation, the transformation of us as Israelites, as us as Jews, that's what's really miraculous. And so when we sing Mi Chamocha every Friday night, every Saturday, every time we daven, what we're actually saying is, I can be recreated. Our community can be recreated. Our nation can be recreated. Our world can be recreated. That's a redemption that I can hold on to. And so I leave us with two questions. Like the waxing and waning of the moon, in your own experience, what makes you feel full as a person? And what makes you feel absent or unrecognized or hidden as a person? And there's no need to criticize either one or to lift up one above the other, because as we know, with the moon, we need both. And it's actually helpful to know what makes us feel full and what makes us feel absent. The path of redemption, we need both. We continue on 282 with Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You can be seated if you're not saying Kaddish. This week, we remember the yahrzeits of Robert Balser, Alice Bethel, Irving Croman, Sam Fisher, Simon Friedman, Gino Galambos, Sarah Hausner, Robert Holo, Frida Huttenbach, Margaret Kinberg, Harrison Levin, Nicholas Nico Linish, Louis Littman, Stanley Nager, Armand O'Fell, David Olin, David Ortenberg, Maxine Resnick, Mark Rayblatt, Fanny Rothman, Sam Rudolph, Erna Schindler, Judith Schneiderman, Burton Sunken, Andrew Zerman, and Mickey Ziering. Also, during these 30 days of Shloshim, we've laid to rest Beverly Given. I also want to give honor to Sidney Portier, who died this morning, who really was a role model and someone that I respect highly. If you're here to say Kaddish for someone and I didn't say their name, if you would stand up and say their name. And if I did say their name, please rise as well. And those who are watching over Zoom, I see Nico's family, Nisan, standing after 5 years with little baby Nisan as well. We hold you all in our hearts. If it's your custom, please rise to help the mourners say Kaddish as well. We're on page 292 as the mourners lead us in Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach hirutei v'almich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yom nechon v'chayet kol beit Yisrael. Ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam al me'al maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei tekudashah b'reichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Oh, say shalom. Shalom, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, shalom, aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bim Ramah. Oh, say shalom. Bim Ramah. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Sophie Livingston, get ready to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. But meanwhile, just a few announcements. You should have received an email that Rabbi Mari Chernow's installation is going to be moved to May 13th through 15th. So mark your calendar. Please do that. Also, the women's retreat is hopefully still going to happen March 11th. And sign up for that. We're hoping that things will calm down by then. There's I can't say it, even though I'm from New York. Coffee Clatch with Jesse on February 16th at 6:30. It's with Dory Lamar. It's about how we re-enter our social communities in a post-COVID world. I don't know if we've gotten to post yet, but okay. Next Friday night, it's positive thinking. Next Friday night is MLK Shabbat. It's going to be really nice. We're going to see an amazing video that Sophie Grossman-Sartain put together.
Sophie Hall-Marcatel.
Sophie Hall-Marcatel, sorry. Sophie Hall-Marcatel put together of Martin Luther King Jr. in our sanctuary speaking. It's really an amazing video. We're also going to show parts of Reverend Barber's video when he was with us on Yom Kippur, and Rabbi Chernow is going to be speaking and reflecting on that night. So it should be nice. That's next Friday night right here. And now, Sophie Livingston, are you ready for Kiddush and Motzi? We can't hear you yet.
Hi. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You are?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit Kihu Yom Tefillah Mikra Kodesh Zecher Letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'acharta V'otanu Kidata Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Kodesh V'ahava Uvratzon Minchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat
L'chaim. L'chaim. And now take out your drink up. Yep. Take out your challah for motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen.
Yay.
Thank you. Mazel tov for tomorrow, Sophie.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.